Hello BookTube. As my 2025 library tour comes to an end, I'm finding the time to indulge in other BookTube projects I would like to do. This video is going to serve as an introduction to one of them, an in-depth look at my reading history and reading life. I periodically experience taste changes. I will find myself drawn to a specific genre and want to read mostly that and collect mostly that genre. And then I will experience a taste change and my interests, my tastes will move elsewhere. This has happened many times during my life, from since I was a kid. And I want to look at all of them in some depth. Now, I have talked about this quite a bit on this channel. It is at times something that concerns me. And I have largely relegated this to discussions of science fiction and fantasy, which, when I started this channel, was the dominant genre that I read and had been for a very long time. And then a few months after I started the channel, my tastes changed. And it took me some time to find my bearings with history and manga. And then just recently, within the last year or so, my tastes have drifted away from history and has firmly ensconced itself in manga. So I've talked quite a bit about the transition from science fiction and fantasy to history. And I've also talked a bit about the literature, or classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama, which still plagues me, and why there was not a weekly reads last week, which I may or may not address tomorrow, depending how exhausting the final episode of the 2025 library tour is. I'm expecting it's probably going to be over an hour, but we shall see. Anyway, so I think there's going to be several episodes, and I'm not entirely sure if I should approach these episodes seriously. And so the titles would be, and the approach would just be me talking about it. And so I would start with American superhero comics, which was the first genre that I really experienced this with. And then mysteries, which I've also talked a little bit about. Literature, because I don't think I really have enough space for classics, canonical, modern, and contemporary fiction, poetry, and drama. Even though I'm not entirely satisfied with just calling this part literature, but it'll have to do, I guess. Science fiction and fantasy, history, and finally manga, the current genre that I am currently most obsessed with. But I also want to have a bit of fun with this, and drawing inspiration from Steve Donahue, who has often talked about his Bank of Steve, where authors have X amount of credit with him. A number of other booktubers have also taken this bank of concept as well. But I think, in a way, how my reading life is, and how, honestly, if I were a bank, I would fail because nobody would have any credit with me. I think it would make more sense to see me as more of a royal court, so the court of James. And that gave me the idea of trying something a little bit fun with this. So instead of American superhero comics, I could go with the Hellfire Regency. Mysteries could be the Christie Ministry. Not entirely sure what to do about literature. It is my bête noire, most certainly. Science fiction and fantasy could be a reprise of The Rough Wooing of Conan the Cimmerian, although I could change, have a different title. And I'm not entirely sure what I would do with history or manga yet. So I'm not entirely sure. I will take the weekend to figure that out, and I will start with American Superhero Comics this coming Monday. So look forward to that. And then I will do an episode a week on Mondays until I finish with manga. So anyway, BookTube, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the loading of the most recent episode of the 2025 library tour, and I'll be back tomorrow with the grand finale of the library tour and weekly reads. So until then, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.